Thanks for joining us for this COVID-19 update for Friday, August 13th. Today's numbers between Marriott Health Wesley and Forest General Hospital. In the hospital, we have 158 people who are COVID positive. Those ages range from age 2 to the early 90s, but the average tends to be in that low to mid 50s. And of those, 38 right now are in the ICU. As you can see, going back to the three big waves we've had that have driven hospitalizations. The first one was in that July-August frame last year. Then we had the one between Thanksgiving and New Year's. And then obviously the one we're in, still escalating. Today's down just a little bit. But given the number of positives that we've seen, and we'll talk about that in a second, you can almost be assured that that number is going to go up. So just some of the hospitalizations. Of the 158 hospitalized, only 18 were fully vaccinated. Of the 33 in the ICU, only 5 were fully vaccinated. And of the 20 that are currently on ventilators, none of those were fully vaccinated. Deaths since Wednesday's briefing, we've had 1 new death in Forest County, bringing its total to 169, and then had 2 COVID-related deaths in Lamar County since Wednesday's briefing, bringing the total to 95 there. New cases today, another record day, 204 new cases in Forest County, 147 in Lamar County. Just to give you some of the, I guess you could call it good news in terms of as people are seeing friends and family that are becoming sick and going into the hospital, that has driven up vaccination interest and people going to get their shots. In Forest County, while the number of fully vaccinated stays at 28%, we've seen increased interest in getting that first dose. That initial 7% have gotten that first dose, and almost 500 since Wednesday have gone in to get their shot. Lamar County, they have just passed the 50% mark of having at least 1 shot. Their first dose, the doses have gone up in recent weeks at 658 since the briefing on Wednesday. So just as we go into the weekend, there's some ways that you can stay safe, and we want to make sure that we keep the focus on how you and your family can stay safe, particularly as we're seeing a lot of cases right now. 2,800 people in Forest and Lamar counties have been diagnosed with COVID in the last 2 weeks. So what does that mean for you as you face this weekend? First of all, get a vaccine. If you have not received your shot, it's time to do that. The Delta variant is more contagious, it's more deadly, it's more likely to affect young people. It's time to go get your shot. And there are plenty of opportunities and ways to get that. We'll talk about one in just a second. Secondly, wear your mask. Whether you've been vaccinated or not, follow CDC guidelines. Particularly if you're indoors or if you're around other people, you need to wear your mask. 3, avoid large crowds. Again, this is incredibly contagious right now, and there's no reason to risk it and risk the health of your family. Avoid those large crowds. But if you are testing positive for COVID, ask your provider about the need and the availability of monoclonal antibody therapy. There are a few notes just about this. This is one of those, we talked about last year as we had mandates. The reason we're doing that is to buy us time until there's a vaccine or a proven therapeutic. One of those therapeutics that has developed over time is this monoclonal antibody treatment. They're basically, if you were an at-risk population last year, you were eligible for these antibodies. If you're over 12 years old, if you're at least 88 pounds, if you are not on supplemental oxygen right now, if within 10 days of your symptom onset, while you still have mild to moderate symptoms, and you have any of the following conditions: you're over 65, you have a BMI over 25, if you have diabetes, if you're pregnant, if you have any kind of cardiovascular disease, hypertension, asthma, chronic kidney, if you have an immunosuppressed issue, if you're sickle cell, anything that puts you at risk of developing more severe symptoms, you can go and ask for this if you ask early enough. So if you do test positive, this is something that you want to check on. Call your healthcare provider and ask if you are eligible for these antibodies, because there's a lot of data that says they can keep you from getting severe illness and keep you out of the hospital. Just in terms of testing, obviously Hattiesburg Clinic, Marriott Health Wesley, the Monday through Friday Forest County Health Department. You have to book that appointment in advance, covidschedule.umc.edu. Of course, with tomorrow being Saturday, you can go to C.E. Roy Community Center between 8 and 12. I would encourage you to get there early. You can do that. Also, Simrai has all of their clinics that are open many of the clinics, particularly Minor Care Clinic next to Forest General, is open 7 days a week that they can do testing as well. And then just one particular vaccine opportunity we want to remind you of. Tomorrow at Mount Olive Baptist Church, that's at 1313 Country Club Road, just off 49. There will be a free vaccination clinic for that South Hattiesburg area and for anyone who needs a vaccine at Mount Olive Baptist Church from 1 to 3 p.m. That's this Saturday, tomorrow. You can get that. There's no cost to the patient. They will have the Johnson & Johnson vaccine if you're over 18. They'll have the Pfizer vaccine if you're over the age of 12. It's a good opportunity to go and get a vaccine, particularly while this thing is so rampant right now. And finally, our act of courage. This act of courage is Ms. Shelby Davion. Her father, Jamie, has been very instrumental in running the vaccine clinics for Hattiesburg Clinic. And if you hadn't heard the story, it's been on Facebook a lot. Shelby was life-flighted to Batson Children's Hospital because she had developed post-COVID multi-system inflammatory syndrome. And she, over 7 days, she has made a lot of progress, but has a long way to go. And so we want to make sure that we're continuing to lift her and her family up in our thoughts and prayers, and make sure that we encourage them, but also just people like that who are dealing with especially with the Delta variant, who are receiving similar news about this rare condition, this post-COVID multi-system inflammatory syndrome. And so for those families, particularly those with children who are getting sick, we send our thoughts and encouragement. And again, and to Jamie, thanks for all you do and all you've done for this during this COVID season. As we go into the weekend, remember to wash your hands, take care of yourself, wear a mask if you're around others, get your vaccine. Most of all, be kind. Please take care. We'll talk to you Monday.